Hey guys, Tuesday, April 14th. I hope you guys had a great spring break. Okay. Now that we are back, and hopefully you enjoyed the beautiful weather, we are going to get started into exactly what we were doing before all of this started. Okay, so if you can remember, we were in Unit 6 and we were getting ready to take a quiz, and we never got to take that quiz. Well, this is your lucky week because you're going to take that quiz on Friday. Okay. So Tuesday, today, we are going to review max, minimum, range, mode, median, and mean. Okay, and we'll talk about an outlier again. And then tomorrow we'll do a little bit more of the skills we had done. Thursday will be a quiz review, and Friday is your quiz. So you really got to take this week seriously. Fourth marking period grades. Okay, so you're going to have quiz grades and you're going to have classwork. All right, so we'll have assessments, which will be 60% of your grade, and classwork is 40% of your grade. So doing the daily assignments is super important because you're getting marked off on that, and that counts for almost half your grade. So we should all have a great fourth marking period, okay? All right, some reminders for these things. So when you get started today, you'll see that in the folder for today, there are some reminder slides of definitions and whatnot. There's also a math antics video that you can watch in addition to this one if you need help. But remember, you can watch this one multiple times if you need to go back and forth. I'm going to remind you of what each thing is, okay? Here's our data set. I put 5 numbers up here to keep it pretty simple for us, all right? We need to remember we have maximum and minimum, all right? We talked about how maximum is your maximum number. It's your biggest number. And minimum is your smallest number. So you would look over here at your data set and you would go, oh, 10 is my biggest number. That means my max is 10, okay? And 2 is my smallest number, so my minimum is 2, okay? Nice and easy, biggest and smallest number. Then we take our maximum and our minimum and we use those to find the range. So remember, the range is you take your biggest number and your smallest number and you subtract them, okay? So 10 minus 2, all right, 10 minus 2 is 8, so our range is 8, all right? Remember, we do all this stuff after our assessments when I say to you the range and scores was from 100 to an 82. I always give you the highest and the lowest, all right? That's how I'm telling you the range, and then you just subtract those. All right, mode. Mode, our key word was most, okay? Both have 4 letters. They both start with an M-O. Mode, most often, and mode, most often. The number that occurs most often. So when I look over here at my data set, I can see, oh, there's 2 number 2s, and everybody else is only there once. So my mode is 2, okay? Now, let's pretend that the 7 was a 4. Well, then there would be 2 4s, so then my mode would be 2 and 4, okay? So you can have more than one mode, don't forget that. You can also have no mode. So if this guy right here was a 3 and none of the numbers repeated, now we have no mode, and you would write no mode. Don't write 0, because then that tells us, oh, there's a bunch of zeros over here, and there's not. So you have to write none or no mode, okay? Median, okay? Median, our key word is middle. Remember, we have that D, and they both start with an M. Median, middle, median, middle. So median is the number in the middle, but remember, we got to put the numbers in order first, okay? So I have to take these numbers, and I'm going to put them into order. So I have a 2, and then another 2, then a 4, a 7, and a 10. Once I have them in order, now I'm going to do the cross-out game, okay? So I cross out my low, cross out my high, cross out my low, cross out my high, and the number in the middle is a 4. So my median would be a 4, okay? Just the word, mean. I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing it. There's only 5 numbers. It won't be so hard. And remember, if you have a calculator, it's okay. Go ahead and use the calculator, all right? But we're going to add up these 5 numbers, okay? So I have a 7 and a 2, so I have a 9 plus 10 is 19. Now if I want to go ahead and add in my 4, that gives me 23 plus 2 is 25. So I add, and when I add them, I get 25. But remember, that's not all I have to do. It's 2 steps. After I add, I have to divide. And I'm going to divide by how many numbers there are. And there are 5 numbers. So I need to divide by 5. So 25 divided by 5 equals 5. So my mean is 5. Okay? Now remember, we're not always going to have an outlier question. So today you won't really see that, but you will see it on the quiz. Remember, the outlier is the one that's like not with the group. So remember I talked about when we look out the window in the classroom and there's all these geese together, and then there's one that's all the way on the other side by himself, and we called him the outlier. Okay, so if you have a bunch of numbers that are all near each other and then one that's not even close, we would call it an outlier. So if I all of a sudden was like, said that there was a 99 up here, well, he would be our outlier because he's not close to these other numbers. So we would write that the outlier was 99 if he was actually in our set. Okay? So those are your reminders. Maximum, biggest. Minimum, smallest. Range, subtract the maximum and the minimum. Mode, the number that occurs most often. You can have more than one mode or you can have no mode. Median is the number in the middle, but you got to put them in order first. And then mean is the big one where you got to add them all up and then divide by how many numbers there are. Okay? So now that you've heard the reminder lesson, you're going to go ahead and do the practice stuff, and then you're going to submit it so that I can take a look at it. Remember, this week is super, super important because we have that quiz on Friday. But we can do it. I know you guys can do it. You're doing a great job so far. Let's keep up the good work. Okay? All right. Bye, guys.